everybody, Web3 fans. Welcome back to another episode of the Envelop podcast. I'm your host, Fusion Crypto MC, and I am totally love the idea of renting and lending and using the full potential of NFT. I'm pretty excited with today's episode because I'm having now Denis Lam. He's the founder and CEO of Vera Labs, and Vera is a decentralized protocol built on top of major blockchains that allows essential financial services for NFTs, such as renting, lending, and mortgages. Yes, you do hear me well. So Denis, it's great honor and pleasure to have you on. I'm pretty excited to talk to you. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Eugene. It's a pleasure to be able to get to know your channel and your guests. Let's do this.
Let's do this. So let's start with your short story. How did you get into the Web3 space?
Well, actually, that story is not short, but the simplest way to explain it is completely by accident, right? I got into the crypto space in 2017. Initially, in 2017, one of the companies I used to work with, I'm a product engineer for them, and they wanted to have me research into the blockchain space to build a product in that space. I started attending a bunch of meetups in the San Francisco Bay Area and Silicon Valley, met a lot of really smart and awesome people. And before you know it, I started looking into investing in ICOs and supporting different founders I liked in early projects, and the rest was history. But what actually ended up happening on how that became Vera Labs and why I decided to start this company, well, I also met my co-founder at that time, being in the space. He was a consultant for my company, and he personally was involved in crypto since 2015 as an ICO investor in Ethereum, so he's even a bigger OG than myself. Together, since that time, we started investing in several projects, but we also started a consulting company to work with a lot of different brands and enterprise companies and helping them develop blockchain. Through our initiatives, working in that startup, we had the opportunity to do projects with really big institutions and companies like the Canadian Stock Exchange. We built NASA's blockchain. Northern Trust, which is like a really, really big bank with over 60 trillion assets. And as the timing got closer to the 2019, 2020s, there was a lot more interest in a concept called NFTs at that time. We started working on projects in that space. For example, we had clients in Hollywood. They were building movie streaming NFTs. We had auction companies that sold collectible cars, etc. So through all our experiences in the blockchain space and building products for other companies and other institutions, we identified major opportunities to decentralize a lot of these business use cases specific to NFTs. And we're like, it doesn't make sense to, let's say you are a creator, you created thousands of movie NFTs. It really doesn't make sense for you to have to, you can't trust the people you do business with who's helping you sell and promote your NFTs, so you have to waste so much time doing legal contracts. Wouldn't it be nice to have, let's say, a smart contract where the other party can simply put collateral there and you don't need to really know who they are, you just give them the NFTs, they got 1 year to sell or promote whatever your NFTs are, and if they decide or cannot do that, they simply return it to you, and otherwise they lose their collateral, right? And that would eliminate all the need to really have to trust them or need to have all this complicated legal contracts. So examples such as this is what gave us the idea to start Vera Labs and build a decentralized protocol called Vera. You know, Vera really means truth, right? In Latin, true. So true ownership, right? And if you truly own an asset or whatever you're creating, we believe that the ability to monetize it or create utility with your asset, you should be in full control. You should never need to depend on some third party that gates monetization or creation of utility for the asset you own, right? And that's what we're building, to empower individuals that have that are in the NFT space.
Excellent. I really love your passion. I have watched a couple of your interviews and I really enjoyed your phrase. You said, now NFTs are dead assets. They are dead assets. And I do understand what you mean, but explain for our viewers, what did you mean saying that?
Well, I mean, dead assets simply mean your money or capital is kind of locked into that asset. You can't do anything with it other than buying and selling, right? I mean, imagine you have money to buy a house, but that's all you can do. You can buy a house, and if you want to sell, you can sell it, right? You can only buy and sell. You cannot rent a house. You can't borrow money to buy a house. Like, you really have to just pay in full. Well, if the real estate market in the world was like that, a lot of people would be hurt. A lot of people wouldn't have homes, they can't afford things, the whole economy would collapse, right? So in my opinion, in order, just like in the real world, in order for any asset to have stability and is treated as a real asset, you need many different ways to generate liquidity with the asset beyond just buying and selling. That's what creates efficient markets. NFTs right now obviously are not efficient, they're highly speculative. Most NFTs have absolutely no utilities. You have to try to trust the founder or the brand to kind of create utilities. And how many rug pulls do we see? How many brands, say they want to do something and they don't do it, right? So, it's a risky area. There's high volatility, and when your money is kind of trapped in NFT, and then let's say there's a bear market, or the market is not doing so well, like right now. Well, you're kind of stuck in it, right? And that's one of the huge limitations on why NFTs, as exciting as they sound, there is a limit on adoption and why more money is not in this space.
Well, perhaps we do not need to explain for anybody why should you own NFT. Everybody understands that. Why should you invest in NFT? But let us explain why may we need to lend NFT or to borrow NFT or to rent or to buy NFT even with mortgage like we do with house. It sounds quite specific. Why do we need it at all in life? What will be the use cases for that? Could be the use cases.
Yeah, well, technically you don't need to have it, but in order for NFTs to have adoption and go beyond just speculation, you need these essential infrastructure to make this technology be able to be used with real assets, right? So once again, NFTs is just a technology, just like blockchain. It's not an asset. A lot of people get confused. Oh, it's a new asset class. It's not. It's a technology. Basically, instead of trusting a company or a government to keep a registry of who owns what assets, say cars, right? Or the real estate title, or what's an authentic designer handbag. Instead of trusting a centralized company, you trust Ethereum, you trust the blockchain. That's all it is. That's all NFTs are, right? Well, right now, people in the Web2 world, real companies, are not really using it to do these things, to represent real world assets, consumer goods, or even digital assets. At least not yet. It's really digital art and digital games for now, right? That's a low-hanging fruit. So if we want one day where there's more serious assets that's going to be using this technology, we really need these types of technologies, right? In addition, even with the existing investors and the people that are buying current NFTs, there's a large demand for liquidity, right? I mean, that's the reason why when you buy, for example, crypto, why is there DeFi in the first place? Because people want liquidity from their positions to generate yields. So imagine crypto back then in 2018, before there's no DeFi, there's no yield farming, there's no sorts of ways to generate passive income. All you can do is buy and hold and sell, right? The crypto market would not be as big as it is now. DeFi right now, I believe, has been up to as high as $100 billion, right? So we believe, just like the early stage in crypto, if DeFi needs to take off, then it needs to have DeFi abilities, right? And sure, you have companies out there like NFTFi, PonFi, Arcade, all these other companies. What they're doing is say, hey, you let us borrow your NFT and we'll give you some line of credit, right? We'll give you like 20% of the floor price, we'll give you some money, right? That's great. That's actually needed to create liquidity. But if you think about it, that only helps the rich get richer, right? They can only service probably the Bored Apes and the crypto punks right now, which the rich has, and they can get more money out of it to get yield from elsewhere and make more money. What I'm more passionate with and why I start Vera is not necessarily just to help the rich get richer. How do we get more people to come into the Web3 space, into NFT space? How do you make NFTs more affordable? And even if they can afford it, but they really love the utility behind it or the experience it can provide, how can you have them get that without having to be exposed to market volatility, without having them to lock up capital they don't have, right? And that's what Vera chooses to solve. We're focusing on the other side of the coin. We're not trying to be another protocol for giving you a line of credit from the assets you own, like your house, in this case, the NFT. We're here to enable you to borrow NFTs so you can use the NFT to go to your favorite event, to go to your concert, to get membership in a DAO, to get membership in some event. You can borrow the NFT, right, to rent it out. And on the other side, if you have an NFT, you're not using it, don't let it collect dust in your wallet. Rent it out, let some other people enjoy it, right? And you make money with it. And of course, with financing, if you can't afford NFT, you can pay installments. You can buy now, but pay for it later, or pay over time, or have a mortgage, meaning other people will help you pay for it, just like a house, but then you owe the network back, the principal plus the interest. So that's what we're here to do.
Well, I would have paraphrased you. So you are talking about affordability of NFTs. You are making NFTs more affordable than they have been now. That's
well,
your
absolutely.
idea.
These are all the tools that's needed to be able to help all types of people from mainstream come into this world of NFTs. It's not only for degens, it's not only for whales, it's not only for the speculators. We want actual people to use it. And if there's that type of demand or that type of business is possible, then we believe the entrepreneurs and the creators will start thinking of new businesses and products they can build with NFTs to cater to all types of people, not just the speculators.
Well, explain please in simple terms, how can one rent or lend his NFT with the help of Vera?
Well, sure. So right now we're on 3 mainnets, right? Ethereum, BSC, and Polygon. And very, very, very soon, we're going to be on Solana. Right now, it's on testnet. So we haven't put on mainnet yet. So we're very excited with that. That's like the top largest NFT markets that exist today. So how it works is any any decentralized application can be built on top of our protocol to have to offer their users the financial services of rentals or financing, right? And currently, we actually built a DApp, which is a marketplace to showcase these features. You can go on our website, Vera.financial, click on the app and test it out and try it yourselves. So how it works is you can connect your wallet on the blockchain that you want to rent out an NFT or lend an NFT on, so say Ethereum. And then our application will pull all the NFTs in your wallet. You can select one or multiple NFTs you want to lend. You click lend, and it's literally like an Airbnb experience, right? You can say, hey, maximum, I want to lend these NFTs for no more than 10 days, right? And what currency do you want for rent? Let's say I want ETH, or I want USDC, or I want Vera token. It can be any currency, right? You pick one. So let's say USDC. We have 2 options. The first option is, do you require collateral? The other is without. So if you want to require collateral, you can say, hey, for this NFT, say I want to rent out my Azuki, which, by the way, recently is very hot. Like, I want to put a collateral of $200,000 down, or $100,000, right, USDC. And then rent is I'll happy to charge $500 per day, USDC, right? So you enter all of that and click submit, and that NFT is basically listed on our protocol. Then on the app, if you click on rental, it will be able to pull out this listing in our order book, and anyone else with a different wallet can agree to those terms, and they make the payment, and they can go ahead and then rent, and they basically own the NFT now, right? So for the collateral option, if they don't return it by the deadline, or they basically don't pay the rent, then they lose they lose the collateral, right? I mean, they keep the NFT, lose the collateral. That's the point of having a collateral. The other option is if you rented out the NFT without collateral, then if the borrower does not pay rent or does not return NFT, then our smart contracts will automatically take the NFT and pull it back to the original owner. So it's automated in that sense. So that way, the lender does not have to worry about losing or getting NFT stolen, so that we call that lender protection. This is powered by a special technology called lien locking technology on our protocol. So hopefully that kind of explains the 2 different options for rentals.
Excellent, get it. So almost everybody in developed countries understand how buying a house, let's say with mortgage works. You go to the bank, you take a loan and you buy a house, and house being put as collateral and so on and so forth. But how NFT buying with mortgage works with the help of Vera? Explain us.
Well, if you think about it, mortgage involves kind of like renting as well, right? So when you're buying a house, you put the down payment down, you haven't fully paid it off, you don't fully own the house yet. So in a sense, you're functionally renting the house until you fully pay it off. So that's why we have the same protocol or engine that we create, or smart contracts can power both rentals and mortgages. In fact, to be very specific, any use case of NFTs that involve a conditional ownership of NFT, we can power those use cases all by Vera. So we're very excited with that. But going on point, our mortgages, we actually have two products. Okay, currently, what's coming out very soon is we support something called seller financing. So if you want to sell your NFT, you can list it on a marketplace powered by Vera. And you will say, hey, I will accept seller financing. And what that simply means is if I'm buying an NFT, I can buy it now and pay for it later, like in installments, like month to month, or whatever the frequency that the seller says they're willing to accept, right? That's called buy now, pay later. And if they fail to make a payment, then they basically lose whatever they paid. And the NFT, once again, using our seller protection, lender protection technology, it gets returned back to the original owner, right? So in this case, there's absolutely no risk for the seller, only upsides, right? On the other hand, our second mortgage product that's coming out much later in the roadmap will be something similar to traditional mortgage. In this case, you list an NFT for sale in a marketplace powered by Vera. A buyer wants to buy it and chooses the mortgage option. Then Vera will basically pay for their NFT. The seller's happy, get what they want. And then the buyer ends up having to make payments back to our DAO, which is powered by our smart contract, which is Vera. So the buyer will make payments to Vera, and then they will have to pay interest, right? That's exactly how it works. It's not rocket science, but all of this, the beauty of this and innovation is all of this is non-custodial, all right? Meaning it's decentralized. If you ever work in the financial world, whether it's in real estate or traditional finance or other, to do mortgages, to do these things, there needs to be like probably 10, 20 different intermediaries and parties to make all of this stuff that sounds so simple happen. We know it because we used to build these things for banks like Northern Trust and other banks and the stock exchanges. They wanted to look at how blockchain can make it more efficient and remove intermediaries. But of course, being such a big institution, they're very slow to innovate. And there's a lot of legal challenges and concerns, right, for compliance. So we just said, while you go and figure that out, we will build Vera and let the world enjoy the benefits, right? And then we'll see what will happen, whether institutions want to join us a few years down the line when they're ready. Because we already know that this technology is a game changer and makes history on what's absolutely not possible in the past is now possible today. Any asset represented by NFT can now, using Vera, do all the things that's done in the traditional world for a fraction of the cost without middlemen, without intermediaries, or depending on the blockchain, the fees may be almost zero. Amazing, right?
Especially allow this point to remove all the intermediaries from traditional schemes of renting and lending full of these bureaucrats. So if I was listening for your speech on NYC NFT conference 2020 first correctly, am I not mistaken that it is even possible to make a yield farming or even staking with NFT using Vera? And if I'm not mistaken, explain how it works or how.
Sure. So why I didn't mention is right now, the renting examples I described is a P2P lending, meaning peer-to-peer, right? It's like Airbnb, right? I basically, the NFT gets listed on our order book, and then the other party, if they like it, then, they can do the transaction. That's really cool. But we're going to take it a step further. In our second version later in roadmap, we're going to go from peer-to-peer, and we're going to do something called peer-to-pool or peer-to-smart contract, right? Just like how in DeFi, you have ETHLend, and now it's Aave and Compound, which is like a smart contract pool. Like, it's going to be very similar. So in the future, we're going to have what instead of NFT rental order books, right, or even mortgage order books, we're going to have rental pools and NFT mortgage pools. In the rental pools, multiple NFTs from different owners can be put in this pool, and customers or users can directly rent from this pool, whether one at a time or the entire pool at once, right? In fact, if you want an analogy in the real world, this is actually how real estate works with things like mortgage-backed securities, right? Real estate illiquid, it's not liquid, but you can pool many different properties together in a portfolio or a pool and rent that entire out, like as a derivative, right? But I'll give you an actual example that is more people can understand today, not the future, but today. So let's say gaming, right? A lot of people talk about gaming NFTs. So imagine right now, let's say there's a game that's a race car game. I cannot afford to buy the Lamborghini NFT. I could rent one, sure, but then I can only try that in Lamborghini NFT. I'm in South Beach right now, the whole street's all Lamborghinis, right? Every game out here. So imagine instead I had a pool and I had all types of exotic cars, Lamborghini, Porsches, all different cars in this pool. And there's a new product. The marketplace or the game crate where you just have to pay $10, and for the next 2 days you can subscribe to this pool and pick any NFT you want and try it, and after you're done you return it. So do you see now that's an entirely different product. That pool, okay, may only have 20 NFTs, but you may have 100 users subscribe and rent that subscription product or that rental product at the same time. And they just pick and choose what's available to use it, right? And that's like a country club business model. And if there is too many people renting it out, like let's say it's like Uber, right? During a certain time of day, there's not enough cars, or there's not, in this case, not enough NFTs left, then can you see a yield opportunities created? Because now I can offer a bounty or a yield that says, hey, I need more NFTs that are cars of this attribute. If you have one, I will pay you just to stake it in this pool because I have too many people wanting it. So we're the rails, we're the infrastructure to make this possible. And you can imagine so many new business models and experiences that can be created now. And now NFTs are a lot more liquid. You know, there's definitely going to be a lot more excitement with NFTs by you and with this model, no matter if it's gaming or otherwise. Does that make sense, Steve?
Yeah, so you have created such a powerful tool for NFT world. That's very okay. So it seems to me, Denis, we have just utilized less than 1% of all the NFT potential. How do you see the potential of utilizing NFT in any sphere, in real world or in digital world in the future? And what do we need still more to unleash this potential, to uncover it? What are your vision?
Sure. So let me understand your question. So you're asking what is needed where NFTs will actually benefit people in the real world.
Definitely.
Right? Okay. Well, as much as NFTs utilities are limited today, I mean, look at GameFi, right? Games and guilds and play to earn. You can technically argue they're benefiting people in the world today. There are people from impoverished countries, developing countries, whereby playing these games, they have a higher standard of living, right? However, I can argue there are some people that will argue that the morality of this. I'm not going to get into that discussion, right? But the short answer is yes, there are some people that are benefited, for example, through GameFi or whatnot. But in my opinion, that is not enough, and that does not unleash the full benefits and potential of NFTs, right? So I think that the disruptive power NFTs can come that is not even seen today, because so many assets and things that we depend on or that our world economy works off of, they're not tokenized as NFTs today, right? They're what we call Web2 assets. I can't wait for the day when these things are coming into Web3 and they're going to start using it as an NFTs. I'll give you an example, right? So imagine events and ticketing. You can go and buy a season pass for a sports game or for a 1-year season pass, but if you don't go to any of these games, well, you're stuck with it, right? Imagine now you can put it on some marketplace and rent it out. You can generate liquidity for things and products that you're not using, right? So that creates efficiency, right, in the economy. But that's just ticketing. Imagine that extending to other types of assets as well, right? Imagine beyond that. So you may be thinking, oh, so a company needs to create ticketing NFTs, so NFTs that are tickets, but do you really have to? Imagine a business now can partner with, say, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, the Azuki's, or any NFT project or brand, and where that existing NFT can also have an additional utility that acts as a ticket for third-party venues, right? You don't necessarily have to create new tickets. You just do partnerships, and that create new utilities for existing NFTs. So that collaborative nature of Web3 and NFTs, I think, will create some very interesting business models where brands now are less monolithic, and they want to outreach and do partnerships with many other brands to create unique experiences together. You'll see a rise of collaborations, just like how Nike may be working on Louis Vuitton. You can have different brands do the same thing. But not looking at just brands, let's take a look at something like nonprofits and foundations, because not everyone cares about expensive designer brands, handbags, and art, right? There are a lot of people suffering in the world right now, whether it is in certain developing countries, in war zones, right? Which I know you know a lot of. So how can NFTs empower people that are oppressed or in dire need? Well, I think NFTs could also revolutionize how charities and foundations and nonprofits offer. In the past, I, for example, used to work in nonprofits during my university. We basically spent 70% of our time fundraising, getting grants, basically begging for money, and 30% of time executing, right? So right now, nonprofit foundation is people giving money like donations. But imagine in the future, scholarships, foundations, grants, they could be rented out to people. So I have a DAO, for example, and it has money in it, and my NFTs can generate yield. Imagine I lend you an NFT for 1 year, and that NFT will generate yield consistently. And 1 year later, that NFT is returned back to the treasury. This is reinvention of a whole new way to do, social good. I think that's a very interesting topic for people to take a look at. That's never done before. It enforces accountability, right? You can lock with Vera technology. We can make sure that NFT is locked in your wallet. It cannot be transferred out, so that we can guarantee only you get the benefits, right? Without fraud or anything like that. So it's really, really interesting. And I would even say NFTs have royalties that can be split when shared or whatnot. So collaborations can be done with different brands and projects where you can tell them, hey, maybe 1% or 0.1% of every secondary market sales, this amount of money will be used for charity or this and that. That creates a massive amount of automation of these things without all the legal barriers, of complexities of accounting and financing in a very global context, right? Because right now, everything is very global. Imagine a US charity trying to do good with other countries, right? Like there's so many legal and operational complexities in order to do that. And that's why no one wants to get into charity. They just want to make money, right? So I think blockchain technology with NFTs can change the way a lot of things work in the world, not just with consumer goods and branding, but also with social entrepreneurship and charity. I know back in the day, there was a lot of hype with something called microfinancing, right? Let's say, hey, how can we lend some money to the poor farmer in a developing country to grow a farm, right? Well, I think with NFTs, that concept can evolve and become something called, instead of calling it, I guess you can say social financing, right? So NFT enabled social financing. I think it's very exciting because now maybe there are new ways to help a lot of people in the world where it still maintains profitability for the brands and the companies involved. So hopefully I'm giving you little snapshots here and there of different ideas, and that kind of answers your question on what the power of blockchain NFTs can do for all types of people in the world.
It is extremely interesting. I will call you the passionate visionary on NFT world. So you are Denis Lam. So finally, Denis, where is Vera on its roadmap now? What are your plans for 2022? Maybe you are hiring. Whom do you need? Any call to actions to our audience, which may help?
Sure, absolutely. So, we started in Q1 of last year with ideas and early ideas on pivoting. We started our pre-sale and our initial seed round fundraising at the second quarter of last year. And we're very thankful for a lot of our early supporters, both from private sale and also in the public sale, the community supporting us. And since then, we have done so much. For example, Q4 last year, we launched our Ethereum mainnet. We actually partnered with some folks in the Bored Ape Yacht Club and rented out a $1 million plus Bored Ape to show such an expensive asset can be rented on their blockchain on Vera. Since then, we have done much more. We have launched on multiple chains, as mentioned. Solana's coming up soon. And the latest roadmap can be found on our website, of course. But some of the things that we're very excited with is we're definitely expanding right now. We have if you read our Cointelegraph article, you'll see a lot of our updates mentioned in there. But we have just surpassed over $2 million of rentals on our protocol, right? And this is only going to grow. And this is not counting new asset types that's going to be tokenized in the future as NFTs. So currently, we're in the process of talking to several strategic investors and to do a second round of fundraising so that we can have additional capital to scale, to hire, to really grow our ecosystem, right? And what I'm very excited with is while there's a lot of projects out there and games that are building their own NFT marketplaces, we're not focused on that. I don't believe in an NFT marketplace, one shoe fits all, right? But I believe in the proper infrastructure. If you guys follow history, when internet came out, a lot of the early apps, they had to build everything, including the payment and financial tech stack to make payments work on the app. But over time, what really contributed to massive innovations were companies like PayPal or Stripe, right? These were basically API-based companies. They were infrastructure companies that allowed startups to have financial services and payment services built on top of them. And many of these companies became unicorns in the future as well. So it really empowered new generation of unicorns. Well, what Vera is going to do is we are the Stripe of NFTs. We want to find a new generation of founders and entrepreneurs that have that $1 million idea, and we will let them build on us for literally free. We want to empower you to have you go to market without you having to build your own tech stack. You don't need blockchain smart contract engineers. We do all that hard work for you. We will even offer you white label marketplaces, apps, so that whether you want to do guild lending for game items, whether you want to do just a basic secondary renting marketplace for your DAO, like a DAO token. For example, we have a yacht club, a real yacht club. They're creating a DAO of real boats around the world where members can rent and use. But if they don't use that membership, they can rent it out. Instead of having to spend so much money and time to put together an engineering team and build that marketplace, they can build on top of Vera and it'll be ready in 3 days. They immediately have a marketplace for them to rent out their NFTs. That is the future. We want to empower communities. We know NFTs are powerful, but I'm right now attracting in a roadmap a lot of founders, and we're built together. We're going to build this next generation ecosystem of NFT applications and games that will help and empower billions of people around the world. So check out our roadmap for all the specific details and the technical products and features we're going to launch, right? But hopefully that gives you at least a very high level understanding of the direction where we're going.
Sounds fantastic. I really love it. Finally, Denis, how big is Vera community? How to follow Vera and how to join Vera, how to start using Vera?
Well, our team altogether is over 100,000 plus people, all organic. We really haven't even paid for any advertising or anything like that, which is very exciting. I mean, we have a large community on Twitter. You can follow us on Vera DeFi as a handle. Telegram is Vera Network. I believe that is the handle for Twitter. For Telegram, and we have a Discord as well. All of that you can find on our website, vera.financial. So Yeah, we're right now just launched a division called Vera Events at every major blockchain conference around the world, like Miami. Before there was Denver, I was in Dubai. We will have side events. Come out, meet our team, get to know who we are. We're not faceless. If I'm not there, my co-founder's there, my team is there. Get to know, discuss ideas. What is your next dream business? Maybe you can build it and we will support you 100%. Whether in technology or with a grant or with investment, we will be able to help you out in some shape or form. So we welcome you, for you and your friends to come join us in our movement to democratize the power of NFTs.
Well, Dennis, a question from my side, Bonsley. What is the main source of your passion? You do what you love, right?
Well, yeah, I do what I love. You have to understand that for me, as an early supporter and investor in the crypto world, since 2017 and my co-founder in 2015, the crypto world has definitely given a lot to us, right? Not just financially, but relationships, connections, experiences. And, it's easy for some of us to be like, you know what? We kind of made it, but isn't there this Twitter handle or hashtag called WAGME, right? We can basically survive it and we can make it together. Well, I believe that there's no shortage of money today in Web3. A lot of people definitely are rich. I mean, I just drive down this, I was on my taxi Uber going down Miami for the Bitcoin, like there's like exotic cars everywhere. I'm sure a lot of people are rich, but you know what? A lot of this money right now is locked up in castles. Everyone's building their own castle. Do this. Not a lot of people building bridges. I'm here to build bridges because I think if we don't do it, the industry is not going to grow. We can't pay it forward, right? Number two, there's not enough talent in Web3. There's a lot of money, but a lot of people still don't understand what this is all about. How do you get more people that come over from Web2 and work in crypto or NFT startups? That's what we got to do. Prior to Vera, one of the companies I actually worked with, it's not even in Web3. It was a two-sided marketplace in a telehealth space. I was fortunate enough to be like the first product engineer of the company. I was like number 3 in the company. The founder was like a Y Combinator dropout. She was like one of the first female engineers for Facebook's messaging division. I also had the fortunate opportunity to work with like one of the early founding members of Twitch, right? The streaming app. And these are really, really smart people. And they behind them know a lot more smart people. But a lot of them, as successful as they were able to work with us together and scale this company, I mean, we scaled it to like $100 million, right? This is a real business. A lot of people's lives are changed. But a lot of these folks do not understand the power of cryptocurrencies or NFTs. They just think it's a fad. It's like this, it's a JPEG, people getting lucky, right? Well, the reality is the benefit is a lot more. It's just not unlocked today, right? That's the reason why I left that company as much as it's continually growing to start Vera, because it's so much more exciting here. Let's build bridges, not castles, not just bridges within Web3, but bridges to Web2 to attract talent over, right? There's going to be more than enough wealth for all of us in this industry that pay our dues and are consistent. But as long as we believe in law of abundance, just like what the crypto industry has helped a lot of early adopters, I believe there's going to be new waves of successful companies and applications. And as those companies add value, then there'll be a lot of people that also benefit financially and otherwise. And they will pay it forward as well. That's what I'm passionate about. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, totally. This has been the one of the most extremely interesting episodes I've ever done. So ladies and gentlemen, Denis Lam, the founder and CEO of Vera Labs, extremely passionate visionary on NFT, and one of the best speaker I ever had in my podcast, and me, Eugene Crypto MC from Envelop, over to you. Thank you for watching and listening. I help you understand more what does it mean to be in the world of NFT and what potential this sphere and area realm has. So join a Web3 movement, join an NFT movement, use renting, lending, use all the potential of NFT, as I said, because Denis Lam has created Vera Labs. So all the links are written down in the description. Thank you very much, Denis. Please subscribe, share this episode, and stay tuned. Be the part of F3 movement, and we wish you good luck. Dennis, have a good day.
No, thank you. No, don't need to thank me. You got to thank everyone here. Got to thank Eugene, right? If you guys don't know, Eugene right now is live broadcasting this straight out of a war zone, right? I mean, I'm telling you, this gentleman and the community around him probably have friends and family. Their lives are at risk, right? And he's still here to share information that could be life-changing to people around the world. And I want to thank you for being that selfless person in doing so. And I hope, you know, as you do this, your karma will come back, and all of us, you know, whatever we can do by our means, we'd love to support your channel and your initiatives. And we look forward in the future to see you around in a lot of these other crypto and NFT events where you can tell your story. Love to hear from you.
Thank you so much, man. That sounds quite respectable. I really love your words. So thank you very much, and see you. We'll be following you and get a success for us. Bye-bye, everybody. Peace.
Take care. Bye.